Hey everyone, Artemi is here and happy Travis anniversary! Yeah, I'm pretty late for the party. The mod was released on July 6th. Sorry for that. But now, here we are. So, in this video, I will showcase you some insights of how our 20 characters have been evolving throughout the mod's development, and also show some unused and scrapped content. This video won't include the bonus material, because we don't have that much of it, and because only the first bonus was out. Before we start, let me give a shout out to my Grape supporters, such as King Comrade and Stacy Sorrow. There were more people, but they have been gifted a sponsorship by King Comrade himself, and then later it expired. Still, special thanks to King Comrade for giving these free sponsorships. What a Chad. These are my YouTube sponsors, and you can become one too. You will get an early access to my non-premiere videos, shout out in my videos, like I just did, and my thanks to you. Alright, let's get back to the video. So, we will be going in order, from the first beat to last voice. Starting off, Spaceship Pilot. This was the first character designed by Gaster Doggo. He was given as a test to see his skills in designing. I asked him to turn this shitty concept that I made into something that looks like an actual design. This is what we got. Of course it was just a test, so it doesn't look like much in the style of Incredibox. But later he made this more polished version of the character, which looks more close to its original design. Going next, the Iron Health Face. And as some might guess, this character is a reference to Iron Man, mainly his name and the chest thing. He also has gotten some changes. Originally, I thought of this character to be in the steampunk theme, and according to my crappy concept, he was more so a guy having a lot of metal plates on him. But later, we revamped it to be more fitting to a futuristic theme. And yeah, his design is also a callback to this guy from Dystopia. We want to do an antipode of him, having the robotic part in different place of his face. This is also his early design that we originally had. The reason why this one was changed is because back then we didn't knew that characters actually have boundaries, or more simply, you can't make a character bigger than this aspect ratio, and this version wasn't fitting. So we made a different one, and it has been considered to be an official one for a while, until I looked more into his design and saw how some parts are definitely extra and that his main body was not placed correctly. So we revamped him a little more and added much better chest thing that is more close to Reactor in Iron Man's suit. Oh, and this guy also had a slightly different version of the sound he makes. It's not that different from the final version, just that the ending of second loop was different. It was removed to not make it too chaotic, and because it sounded weird. Going next, Gentleman. Let me first talk about his sound, which originally was supposed to be more fast-paced. But it was changed because we already had a fast-paced type of beat with the fourth one. For design, I proposed one in my classic crappy concept style of Incrediman, wearing a cool hat and a monocle. Then our legacy artist made a sketch of his design, and later Gaster made the full design. It was given some changes later on, and this is how he looks now. Now, Tribe Member. Oh boy, this guy has received the most amount of changes in his design. Let's start with his mask. You can see how much variations he had until we found the one that we thought looked the best. But that's not all. The body had even more changes to find the one that would look tribal. And for a while, this was the design considered to be in-game, but something was off, mainly the scarf, so Gaster changed the body a little to look more polished. And here's the last beat. Tribe Drummer. This one was also pretty tough, but not as much as previous one. Here's the first version of the guy. And yeah, this one was scrapped because Gaster forgot that it needs to be a tribal theme. So mask got a little touch-ups and body changed completely. But later we thought it looks too round, so person from Brazil made this sketch and we tried to follow it. Did it work? I guess. Moving to effects, and first one is Tribe Leader. Fun fact, this was the first character put in game and the only character which was made by Iago Animes or Legacy Animator. The design concept was made by a person from Brazil and then he made it look more in Incredibox style. And yeah, in the announcement teaser, he had a little bit different baseline. We decided to change it to not include these weird kick sounds coming from him. Now, Tribe Hunter is next. Not that much I can say about him, only that his design was a little different, especially his headset, mainly because it did not fit the aspect ratio. Yeah, moving on. Next, Satellite Scout. So yeah, this one started from this scrappy concept I made. Then Gaster tried to make his version, which then I realized that the concept needs some adjustments. So with the help of a person from Brazil, he made it to be less detailed and have only 3 big eye elements. Also not much to say about him. Next is Engineer. This one was actually originating from the Dystopia fanmade that I did with my friend back then, who later would work with me on this mod. And I decided to include this guy in Travis, because I think he would fit good for steampunk theme. He also had different variations, this one being one of them. It was scrapped because it was too big, again. So when person from Brazil was not available and I was working with Rem, she did her version of the design and she nailed it. It was the only design Rem made in this mod, mainly because she wasn't involved in the development as a designer, more so in an animator. In general, yeah, this one is one of my favorites. And here we have the last effect, Steamer. Gaster has made a couple of variations of the guy, even eventually this one, which had melody palette for some reason. But this one was his final version, which looks pretty nice, but we thought it had too much stuff on him. So I asked a person from Brazil again, and he came up with this version. Some people say that he looks like Darth Vader, which I can understand why, but it's just a coincidence. Fun fact, at some point we had an idea to make his theme to be green, but it did not look good. Now we're getting into an epic territory, because we're going to melodies. And the first one is Old Computer, which at some point wasn't a computer at all. I had an idea of a character which would have a monitor as his head, with the outlines of his eyes and mouth on the screen. Looks creepy, yeah. And then Gaster made this. Instead of a monitor, it was an old TV. It was scrapped because it just looked weird. Then we had this thing, which definitely resembles GLaDOS from Portal. This did not work because 1. Too much stuff on the design, and 2. It's complicated to make a character who would hang from the ceiling in the original game without some fuckery with animations and sprites. Later we had this version, which is more closer to what would come next. And here is the last work in progress version of the character, before we decided to polish him a little. Fix some colors, make his face not that big, and remove these weird blue things. For a sound, let me show how the character would sound if he wasn't a computer. Going next, Keyboardist, oh boy, one of the fan favorites, and I can see why. But yeah, at some point this guy had this version of design, which was even teased and supposed to be an original mod, but people did not like it, and going back to this, yeah, it's fucking ass. So we changed it. He was based off my friend's art, where the character was actually Dystopia fan made. So yeah, the same story as with Engineer, but slightly different. Next one is Droid Euphoria. He also had some changes, but more so in animation. The old animation was in the first teaser. It was scrapped because it was too hard for us to make it back then. Nowadays, maybe we could finally do it, but we were beginners, so yeah. Besides animation, they removed some unnecessary parts of design. Fun fact about the sound, it actually used a whistle that Max recorded as a sample, which would give more euphoric sound to it. Going next, we have Security Bot, and we don't have that much to share about him. Gaster made the design, Alex made a sound that was from the original song, and Masker made the animation, because back then Person from Brazil was unavailable, and I was in a different place due to war. I guess I can say that it's one of the two characters animated by him. First one was Old Computer. And then here is Tribe Monk, the bald polo, which was something new back then. Now we have a much better example of Incrediman with almost bald head, which we will use in future versions. But yeah, this guy was a big pain to make for Person from Brazil, because each head had to be made separately to fit with mouth assets in Adobe Animate. And yeah, the design was also made by Person from Brazil, and it's awesome. For the sound, it was also different in the announcement teaser, and well, let me show you the full version of it, so you could hear why it was scrapped. Yeah, moving on. The voices are here, and we are starting from the one. Rebel Pilot was the guy we made originally just for fun, to test our skills, with me and Person from Brazil. And then later, he would be in a mod, of course with different design to fit the palette. And like Keyboardist, he was changed due to people's reception, when we showed the teaser with him. And yeah, this is the only character made by a person who wasn't participating in the mod development, by Isaac. The Mosaic God is next, and for some people he might seem a little creepy due to his empty eyes, which don't look like casual Incrediman's eyes. And yeah, this was my idea to have the mosaic face for the guy. Then our ex-artist made a full design sketch of him, and later Gaster made more stylized design. Later we changed it to look more cooler. For those who wonder what is that star behind his head, it's Nimbus, which usually shows that the person is saint. Now, Prince, the main character of the mod. Not that much to say, we did sketch of this design, then polished, and that's it. The Tribal Priest, also fan favorite. Now I have something interesting to tell. So, originally we had two designs for that guy. They both looked awesome, so this is what I did. We took the head out of this guy and body clothes from this guy and merged into one. And I think it looks awesome. Also, some people wonder what are his lyrics. Well, his lyrics are not that meaningful, but you can check Anka's video about it, and for other guys too. And finally, we have Watchmaker. Some people think that his sound is based off the Clock song, but it's not, it's just a coincidence. And with making this structure, I was actually sort of basing it off the Reaching the Stars voice from Dystopia. About his design, originally it was actually completely different. He was looking more futuristic with this suit. Still cool, but we already had enough characters for that team. So Person from Brazil, yet again, made a banger design. Oh boy, we are done with the characters, but we are still not done with the video. Let me show some unused and scrapped content we have. It won't cover a lot, because it would be boring, so I recommend you to check the link in the description to see some work in progress stuff that I did not cover here. One of the biggest scrapped content was the old color palette for the mod. As you could see from the video about scrapped Beat 4 character, he actually had completely different color palette, and for a while we considered it to be our palette for the version, but we scrapped it because colors did not fit. And as you might think, the colors are actually based off the Ages album cover with blue, red, yellow and turquoise colors. And as I mentioned, we had an unused Beat 4 character, which was scrapped because it was too complex for us back then. I already made a video about him a long time ago. We also had some unused designs, which you can check in the zip file in the description. That was probably one of my biggest scripts I have ever wrote. In the end, thank you all for your support on the mod, and I hope you will like the next stuff we are preparing. See you later.